Welcome to our podcast, War and Freedom Inside Talks with Giselle and Walid. What a day, Giselle. Today, all day was so many meetings. What's your impression?
I have brain drain right now.
We both have.
Like so many times that we repeated everything, like from the panel this morning at the club to like all of the congressmen and everything, to the media right now. We were on national media.
Even at night.
We're done, physically, mentally, everything is done. But it was good, like how much we got done today. The reactions were, of course, like everybody is freaking shocked. Like, what do you mean the regime just sentenced the American administration to like this amount of like billions of dollars with your dad together, putting your dad's life on the line like this? It is exhausting to do all of this stuff, and you don't see a reaction from these people here behind us.
Yes,
Whitehouse has said
those behind
nothing.
us, nothing.
Mainstream media hasn't even acknowledged that this happened.
Sorry, what? Iran is suing America?
It's an upside-down world right now. I mean, just to remind our viewers, your father, there was an attempted assassination on him in California.
First time was charged by the Islamic regime with terrorism.
They never spoke of it here. Our government
As we were handing them.
This is the first time I'm hearing about
Exactly.
this.
I mean, this story's still not being covered in mainstream media.
Like it's all over Iranian media. It's all over like the regime and blah, blah, blah. Everybody has reported about it. It's all in all the news. And he was dead silence, like it never happened.
Yeah.
Like the same thing happened with my dad, like when he was left behind last year, when they said we're bringing all the American hostages back and left him and others behind. Dead silence. They just try to like wipe it out of like existence. This does not happen. If we don't talk about it, it does not happen. So we have to do something that they have to acknowledge. This happened.
It did, yeah.
And what are you going to do about it?
We just gave terrorists who terrorized my dad here on U.S. soil, who terrorized the entire Trump administration here on U.S. soil, plotting assassination attempts on them. We just gave them $6 billion of Iranian money. When I say Iranian money, I mean the money of the Iranian people, not their oppressors, not the people who are holding us and the Iranian people hostage over there. We handed it to them, and let me explain what happened while we were doing that. While we were handing them $6 billion, my dad, with the entire U.S. administration, was in court in Iran, and nobody saw it here. It was all over the Iranian news that they put my dad and the previous Trump administration in front of a court calling us terrorists while we're handing the terrorists money.
Did you notice that both the congressmen, and we met really many, and of course the chief of staffs and all the staffers in Congress, I mean, this was a long day with so many meetings. They all had one thing in common. They said, what? We didn't know.
We didn't know.
We didn't know, and it was on the news, but not on the national news.
Yes.
What is my conclusion to draw is that if it's not on the national news, even our representatives didn't know. They thanked us for being there and briefing them. That's what we've been doing for a while, but today was exceptional.
All we hear are excuses from both administrations. My dad is a U.S. national. We are the fourth generation of Americans here. We're standing in front of the State Department that is not giving us the answer why they are not including my dad in the people who deserve to be freed. Who's calling the shots here? Is it the U.S.? Is it the world powers? Is it Germany? Or are we giving all of the power to the terrorists there that are endangering Americans and Europeans? President Biden, it has been 3.5 years that you have ignored me. My father is a U.S. national. He's a patriot. He was fighting for freedom. He was using his voice, just like I'm using my voice right now, to fight the terrorists. And you have abandoned him. Right now, the Islamic regime didn't only put him on the stand and sentenced him, they also, for the first time in history, have put the U.S. administration, the U.S. government, with him in a court in Iran and sentenced you. What does that mean? That means you have to respond. You are responsible for his life, for our safety. So I'm asking you right now, as my president, do something to save my father.
So it ends up, and this is what many members of Congress and the media, tonight we had this national interview. They said, what we are paying money, this administration behind us is paying money to the regime, and the regime sentenced the administration to pay more money.
Yes.
I called it circus. This is not real. This is comics. This is not real.
Mildly circus. Like it is absolute insanity to look at it. And it's happening over and over again. Like I have a déjà vu from last summer when we were
Yes.
sitting there. Nobody knew that there was a deal about to happen with $6 billion. And we're
Yes.
like in front of the State Department, like with our sit-in strike, like, hello, like
Yeah.
Congressman, like this is happening. And it was happening during the summer break, like when Congress was not in session, everybody is
That's
gone,
why
media
it
is not
happened.
covering, right?
Of course.
And you're like, why is it my job to bring the news to you?
Yeah.
Like this should be the job of reporters to report about this, to investigate.
But this is taboo.
But they're not. They are censoring. Like this is like, to me, this is pure censorship happening right now.
That's right.
We are supposedly have a free press that is informing us. No, we're not informing. We're just selectively giving information that benefits
Yes.
our administration, that benefits whoever is making money with the regime, that
Right.
benefits
The
whoever
Iran
is making.
deal,
Yes.
among others. This was incredible today, and I'm gonna wait. You and I are gonna wait a few days to see if this is gonna hit national news. I mean, for a regime, as you just said on TV, radical, who's on our U.S. terror list, to sentence our government to pay money. I mean, could you fathom and absorb that we are paying them? It's like we are paying them, and they are sentencing us to pay more.
The funny thing is, when did this sham trial start?
Yeah.
It started the day that the Biden administration okayed the $6 billion to go to the regime.
That was last summer.
Last summer, the day he said, I'm lifting the sanctions or something, he has to approve something, that is the day that this trial started. Like our administration, like we're saying, like, we're going to give you $6 billion right now, pretty please, terrorists, give us some hostages back. And they're saying, well, not only don't you get all the hostages back, we're also charging you with terrorism, and we're going to charge you with another $2.5 billion later on. What is this?
Yeah, let me share with you. If I was an investigator on behalf of government, of the Congress, that's what they should do. And I would see and hear, like you did, and I, over the summer, billions, 6 and 5, and you know the numbers. And then now you have the regime ordering the administration to pay. You know what comes to my mind? There is a much bigger sum of money that they agreed on.
Yes.
And the Iran regime, the Islamic Republic, is afraid that there may be a change here.
Yes.
So they are rushing. Do you agree? They are rushing and
Yes.
rushing. Give us the money. It's like a New York movie.
Yes.
Give us the money by any means. We sentence you, you send, we don't care. It's a cartoon. But I realized that the members this time, both Republicans and Democrats, understood the big picture.
They
It's called
definitely understood,
the
yes.
transaction.
Yes. It's about time, that they understand. Because how long have you been telling this?
For
How
a long time, yeah.
How long has the Iranian diaspora been telling this?
Yes.
The people of Iran been telling this, right? And up until now, they were like, oh, you guys are paranoid, this is conspiracy, this is that. Up until last summer, when Semaphore came out and said, like, no, we are infiltrated. These are some names that we're going to name. This person is in Pentagon, this person is in the State Department.
You are linking it so well. I mean, look, this is not secret, and I know. No. We read the articles in mainstream media that there are individuals as high as possible in our bureaucracy, our administration, who are sending emails to the Iran regime. Do you know what that means? If this was Trump or Clinton or Bush, this would have been a bomb. Nothing. For much lesser than that, they made it into a conspiracy.
Oh my God! Like we were just talking about Watergate yesterday,
The
right?
beautiful building. We saw it yesterday.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like what big horrific thing was that? That's nothing compared to what the regime is doing. They have people stationed in the Pentagon right now, making decisions for the regime.
It's so funny last night when we walked near the Watergate. And you asked me, what is that building? I said, this is the Watergate. She said, this is the Watergate? I said, yeah. What was the problem? Well, a president allowing the spying on a couple people on documents.
That's
and
like
you were,
kindergarten,
what?
right?
We are way beyond. We are way beyond. So,
and that was a scandal all over the. So what I've understood is, unless it made mainstream media, it never happened.
It never happened.
It never happened in Congress. Nobody cares about it. It doesn't matter how many people bring proof to congressmen, to the administration, to media.
Members are interested, but they are not informed.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Like it never happened.
Yes.
Like you can bring it as an individual person. They're like, oh, this individual person thinks this. Sounds very interesting. But like there's nothing in the media. Probably not true, right?
Yes, it doesn't. If it's not in the mainstream media,
so that's the
not.
genius
It
of the
doesn't exist.
regime to make sure they can influence the media, the mainstream
we
media.
need to have a special podcast on the geniusness of the regime. Do you agree?
Oh,
They are
yes.
evil, they are terrorists, but they are smart.
Oh,
They've
yes.
outsmarted everything under the sun. And I would like to, somebody writes a book on the regime's intelligence.
Yes.
Yeah, how they were able to penetrate every single aspect of public life
Yeah.
in America, in Western Europe. Eastern Europe so far is doing even better. I mean, if you listen to the Poles, you listen to the Czechs, they're not that naive because they lived
know,
under
yes.
the Soviet Union.
true.
They know here it's like floating, nobody cares, and they're actually influencing our policy. I'm afraid, one lawmaker asked me, I'm afraid that they're influencing more than foreign policy. I'm afraid that with all the money they're sending and investing, they're influencing domestic policy.
Yes, of course.
That's what I feel. So we have a lot to do. We have just started in Washington. Let's see what's
Yeah.
going to happen in the
Tomorrow
next.
is going to be intense too.
Even as intense, yeah.
Another day. It's going to be a lot of intense days, but
Yeah.
it's worth it because, like, who else is going to do it?
So what are we doing here? Educating
America.
America.